Mr. Raphael Dawkins with the Combat Radio. And today we're looking at Frank Warren and his response to Dillian Whyte's medical suspension. And he says, Whyte received a shorter medical suspension than Spelman? What's going on? Okay, so promoter Frank Warren is shaking his head in disbelief at some recent rulings by the British Boxing Board of Control. Last month, heavyweight contender Dillian Whyte was brutally knocked out in 5 rounds by Alexander Sasha Povetkin. And earlier this month, Warren's boxer, light heavyweight contender Anthony Yard shook off some of the rust by stopping Deck Spelman. Okay, so that's Dillian Whyte there, dispatched by Alexander Sasha Povetkin, but says he wasn't Sparko. Okay, so Warren is wondering how Spelman received a longer medical suspension than Dillian Whyte, who was knocked out cold. Okay, so Spelman was hit with a 45-day medical suspension by the British Boxing Board of Control, while Whyte was only given a 28-day medical ban, and has already booked a rematch with Povetkin on November the 21st. That's 17 days less. Dillian Whyte has received 17 days a lesser suspension than Spelman, who was certainly not Sparko. Okay, Warren also questions the reasoning for pushing Whyte to a Povetkin rematch so quickly after suffering a significant KO. Okay, so maybe we look at that first. Or maybe we look at the medical suspension first. Which one do we look at first? Okay, the medical suspension. The 28-day thing, there's no getting around that. There's no getting around it. It is why only 28 days and why Spelman 45. You can't knock Warren on this occasion. It does seem a legitimate query. Although you could also say, well, what's he got to do with Warren? I don't think Spelman's his fighter, and Dillian Whyte certainly is not his fighter. So you could say, what's he got to do with Warren? You could say that, and you can say that. But however, you also have to question, why only 28 days? Was it a question of a powerful promoter getting in contact with the British Boxing Board of Control and say, hey, listen, you can suspend him for this long, but if you suspend him for any longer, it's going to interfere with our proposed date. Okay, yeah, that seems a possibility. Okay, so where are we now? Okay, Spelman was hurt, but he wasn't completely Sparko like Dillian Whyte was when he was caught by that huge left uppercut. Whyte needed oxygen, says Warren. Whyte needed oxygen to be administered in the ring, which shows the seriousness of the knockout. Okay, so let's look at that right here, right now. Okay, so it's not a question of Whyte needing oxygen. It's a question of the British Boxing Board of Control having good memories of when oxygen was needed. I don't even know if I should mention the names. Okay, let's say it, like when Michael Watson was knocked out by Chris Eubank Sr. and there was no oxygen at hand. Oxygen which could have had a serious positive effect, instead of not having oxygen, which could and is likely to have had a detrimental effect. So, the British Boxing Board of Control now, they like to be on top of things. They like to have oxygen on hand, and whether you need it or not, boom, they're strapping that oxygen on you, even if you haven't been knocked Sparko. You may recall, you may think back to when, what's his name? Dave Allen. Dave Allen got spanked, seriously spanked, pricey. Okay. So that's why they give oxygen. It's a serious, a sensible precaution. Let's go on to the next point. It does seem strange, says Warren, that his team are allowing him to push ahead with his rematch for November the 21st. yeah, so it has been announced that the fight is going to be, the rematch is going to be November the 21st. And I do have reservations about the speed. The speed of the rematch. I do have reservations. Why so quick? Warren goes on to say, I don't blame Whyte himself. He's a fighter and would have got back in the ring the next day to face Povetkin again if he was allowed. But it's up to his team, up to the team around him to advise him. And my advice would have been for a longer rest after such a heavy knockout loss. I just don't see what the rush is, because Whyte isn't going to get a shot at the WBC heavyweight title any sooner. His February the 21st day vanished when he got knocked out, and now Tyson Fury is free to make voluntary defenses for the next 12 months. Okay. So, let's talk about that. So, yeah, I think they're rushing in for the rematch because Whyte feels fine. Me personally, on this occasion, I have to agree with Warren. I think 6 months at least after getting knocked out Sparkle. 6 months at least is the recommended time to spend out of the ring. But I understand why Dillian Whyte's getting in there. Warren says it won't make no difference, but it will make a difference. It will make a difference. Because if Whyte is victorious, if Whyte emerges victorious in his rematch, his November the 21st rematch with Alexander Sasha Povetkin, if Whyte emerges victorious, then the clock will start. And 12 months after that date. So that's November the 21st, 2021. Whyte will once again be due a rematch with, well, not a rematch, he'll be due a shot, a championship shot, a title shot. He'll be due a shot at the WBC title belt, November the 21st, if he emerges victorious from his rematch with Alexander Povetkin. Okay, so I think that's the sketch. That's the long and the short of it. That's the reason why they're rushing in, because they want to get that mandatory shot. They want to get that title shot ASAP after being messed around, after being leapfrogged by the likes of Dominic Breazeale, after being leapfrogged by the relatively inactive Tyson Fury. Tired of being leapfrogged. So he wants to get in there ASAP. My personal view, should have never fought Povetkin in the position that he was in. If he was trying to get to a position, then yeah, Povetkin would have been a good option. But he was already there. He'd already secured his position as a mandatory. He was already there. And then he chose Povetkin. Which, yeah, fine. Great opponent, great pedigree. Not for the situation that Dillian Whyte was in. No, bad idea, in my opinion. You're already there. You secured your title shot. It was only a matter of time. It was only a matter of waiting till February. And in the meantime, yeah, take an easier touch. Fight to David Price. That's it, David Price. Pricey. Fight to David Price. Still a trick. Well, that would have been a great matchup. Because long, tall David Price, he can bring it on his day. On his day, remember, back in the day, he was a rival to Tyson Fury. Actually beat Tyson Fury. You would have been fighting either a Tyson Fury or a Deontay Wilder. Long, tall men. And Pricey would have fit the bill. So he should have been fighting a Pricey. That's my opinion. You'll say, yeah, but Povetkin's better. Yeah, he is better. But you didn't need Povetkin. You didn't need Povetkin in the position that you were in. You should have fought Pricey. But what's done is done. It's all about the matchmaking. It's all about sensible, clever, intelligent matchmaking. And that wasn't matchmaking. I mean, you got no one to blame. It was you who made that choice. But you know, sometimes you need wiser heads to step in. And unfortunately, that was not the case in this case. What he should have done, and what he did do, two different things. But hey, people have to salute the warrior spirit. But I think it was ill-advised at that particular point. But what's done is done. Let's see how it works out. Me, I have my reservations. I don't like this quick turnaround. But there are pluses and minuses. We talked about the minuses. What about the pluses? Well, the pluses are that you're already fit. Now you can build on that fitness. But what about the cranium? Does that not need some time? Does that not need some time to recuperate, regenerate? I don't know. This is an experiment. This is an experiment. In the first fight, I said, put your money. I think Whyte's gonna win, but put your money on the underdog. And now with this new this new conundrum, this unusual conundrum, getting him back in there with like 3 months? Within 3 months, where are we? September, October, November. Fight happened about a month ago. Yeah, 3-month turnaround after being knocked sparkle. Pooh, I say no. But let's see what happens. And what do you say? It's the Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. It's the like. It's the subscribe. It's the comments. It's the shares. And it is the hitting that bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. And don't forget about the live show. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the comment, hit the shares, and